a guy that owns a used car lot, a dentist, somebody who has a hamburger place. The IRS will rake them over the coals for no reason. Go ahead.
Yeah, and and they'll change the laws basically to suit it's for their convenience. Bankers are constantly changing the laws, changing the products. It's like a three-card Monte game in the city. You see these guys, they're playing three-card Monte, and the cops show up. They can fold up in 5 seconds, and 5 minutes later they shut up across the street. So if they just go from scam to scam to scam, it's basically the same scam, but repeated in different
So
forms.
where is this going? I mean, the whole culture is going into total corruption. Their government's expanding, government's feeding, no different from administration to administration. How bad is it going to get when the immovable object meets the unstoppable force? What is going to happen? A lot of trends projectors, a lot of experts who've been right in the past are saying it's going to end up war in the streets.
Well, there's also another thing going on, which is I call the sixes versus the nines. This is the people with 6 zeros in their net worth, the millionaires, versus people with 9 zeros in their net worth, the billionaires. Because after 9/11, when they dropped interest rates down to 1%, they screwed up the economy so badly that now, 7, 8 years later, the system is so badly screwed up that you've got wars broken out between the billionaires and the millionaires. So even the millionaires, like $5, $10, $15 million, people who thought they were wealthy a couple of years ago are getting squeezed due to the global credit collapse. So you're seeing, like, for example, Goldman Sachs is at war with its own customers. And this was today in today's Bloomberg. There's an example of this. Goldman was targeted by investor complaints of naked short selling. Bloomberg. Investors in a $591 billion high-yield, high-risk loan market are accusing Goldman of naked short selling to profit from record price declines. At least 2 fund managers complained that they were victimized by Goldman, for whom they were doing business with. So you've got wars broken out between the millionaires and the billionaires. And they're shooting at each other using these credit derivative products and other.
So this is only going to get worse. And then also hear blue collar folks say, I don't care. I don't own stock. I don't care about some millionaire. Well, you better. They're the ones that buy the products at your shops. They're the ones that spend money in the economy, not the billionaires. They all hoard it on average. It's the millionaires that actually are funding, the general public. And so what happens when the IRS is going to scalp the millionaires? What's going to happen?
Well, the problem is that the global credit system is so badly screwed. You look at the what's called the Baltic Dry Index, which tracks the global shipping industry. 4 months ago, it cost something like $150,000 to send a ship from China to America. The price has dropped down to $4,000. It's down something like 98.5%. There's literally stockpiles of grain stacked up on the in the port because all global shipping has come to a halt because no one can get a letter of credit to send a ship from point A to point B.
Exactly, and Ford and GM can't get letters for the insurance for the parts manufacturers. The insurance on the subcontractors that sell them the parts, so they're coming to an end. Max Keiser, let's talk about it when we get back. Hey, let's go ahead and play that CNBC clip with one of the bigwigs on TV saying, yeah, it's the Illuminati. Here it is.
At least you're getting back to the point where you can start to look at fundamentals, and that's good news. What happened?
I think you're in a liquidation phase. I think Kirsten had it exactly right. I think there's a bunch of wrong-footed moves by Hank Paulson and the Illuminati of the country, if you will, and I think we're paying for it right now.
All right. Max Keiser, we've always, for the last 100 years at least, had a very corrupt Wall Street elite that is engaged in some crime and some skimming and some manipulation, but, it was more boss hog-like. This is so virulent. This is so out in the open. They're blowing their whole game. Is it because the elite knows the dollar's dead and they're bringing us into a new world monetary system that they're just going for broke? I mean, why? I've never seen, and I've studied a lot of history, so have you, such open arrogance. I mean, that level of chutzpah or arrogance, of bravado, kind of shakes me up because, if they'll steal $5 trillion in a month right in front of you and laugh at you, what are they planning next, Max Keiser?
Yeah, well, clearly the U.S. dollar is an endangered species as such. And I think a devaluation is all but certain. And the question is, devaluation is going to take place. There'll be a global devaluation of all the major currencies, and then a revaluation upward for the price of gold. This is exactly what happened in the 1930s. And to discourage profiteering on the gold side, you might see my friend Eric Jansen over at itulip.com thinks that they'll impose like a 90% capital gains tax on gold ownership at that point. So gold, as you know, I'm a big believer in gold, and I think you have to own gold as a core investment. I think you need it to protect yourself. But it's not as if the government cannot implement strategies to upset the gold owning.
Yeah, they won't do a 1933 War Powers Act gold confiscation. They'll just slap a 50, 60, 70, 80, 90% capital gains tax on it. And folks are like, well, then I better not do that. Well, that's better than just having them devalue it in the bank or have bank holidays. I mean, these people.
You got to have a strategy. You really have to take a defensive position, because I think what these guys are telegraphing is, it's so easy for them to steal so much money these days. I think that they're telling you that they're coming, and they want you to, get in shape and work out and prepare yourself, because they want a good fight. It's like those movies you see sometimes where the sadistic millionaire sets the humans out and goes hunts the humans. But he lets them get a head start because he wants to give himself a little bit of a sport. And I think what these guys like Kashkari are telling the American people is, get ready now because we're coming.
Because he knows he's got the SWAT teams. He's got the military. I mean, he's got it all, and he wants you to know we're going to rape you good. Get ready.
We'll give you a head start, and, because we want to make this fun for us.
Yeah, the destruction of America is so much fun.
That's the message that he's saying. I mean, obviously, if the fact that the American so-called democracy is toothless in the face of what is obvious tyranny is quite shocking at this point in the country's history.
But Max, as you know, Obama will save us.
Well, on my last time on your show, I'm not hitting the anti-Obama button. I'm holding back on my opinion. I'm going to give the guy a few months in office and then see what happens, because I do think that
no, I understand, but I mean, the guy's a puppet. I mean, if he didn't do what they told him, he'd get a Dealey Plaza visit from the Secret Services there to guard him. So we all know that. My whole point is all these Obamanoids are in for a rude awakening, because there's no course changes here. It's full-scale raping. We'll be right back with Max Keiser in 60 seconds. Stay with us. Your call straight ahead.